like most American families or any family who deal with domestic violence, we never dealt with it. There was no closure.
Okay, well, congratulations. What a milestone, a Spanish and an English version of a comedy special on Netflix. You're the first person to do it.
Yes, I'm the first person to do it on Netflix, but I know that there's other comedians that done like French and English. I
Oh,
think Eddie Izzard,
oh.
he did I think an English one, but he didn't do it like at the same time. I did it at the same time.
So did you do it on the same day or different days?
I did the English one on Tuesday, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and the Spanish one on Wednesday. Two shows on one night and two shows on the second night.
Oh, wow. And which one was harder?
The English one was harder.
Oh, really? I thought it would be well, you were born natively speaking Spanish first, right?
Yeah, but the Spanish one, I wasn't that nervous before that one because I already got approval on Netflix. You know, I worked hard on the Spanish one. I went to Mexico to do it in Spanish to get the words right because my Spanish isn't that great. I'm more of a pocho, you know, like I mix the English and the Spanish. Hey, tengo una gran headache right now. Hey, hire the radio, you know.
Yeah, we all do that growing up here in the United States. So did you get called a pocho like I did in Mexico?
Yes, I did. They told me to go back to my country if I'm not going to speak Spanish right.
We're neither from here nor from there.
Yeah, I'm stuck in the middle, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to live at the border agent's house.
It's funny because people don't understand that about Latino Americans, that we're very different from Latin Americans.
Yes.
And that we're bicultural.
That was the reason I wanted to do it in Spanish, to show like our side is our Spanish and our culture that we have here in America, which is different from Mexican culture in Mexico. Like we have Mexican culture here in the United States, but it's different from the Mexican in Chicago and New York and the ones that are from Waimama, Florida, you know. But because I know that, but the whole Chicano culture, everybody knows that, you know, the lowrider and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Blood in, Blood out, American Me. It's like those two movies to other cultures, like in Europe, I noticed they see those Blood in, Blood out the way some people see The Godfather. Like, whoa, this is a movie about Italian Americans, you know, the struggle. And I don't know why, but people love that culture, the Chicano culture. You go to Japan, there's a bunch of people who are dressed like cholos. And when you ask them, they're like, well, this guy's a punk rocker. This guy's dressed goth. I'm dressed in this culture because I'm part of the lowrider culture.
Yeah, I've seen that.
To see Taiwanese people, you know, dressed with penitents, and they're not even a gang. They're just a bunch of people who like cars.
Yeah, I saw that in a documentary, how it's traveled the world, and it's so interesting. And I wanted to ask you, it's funny that you mentioned Blood In, Blood Out, because like you said, it is like an iconic movie for us who grew up here. And in the Spanish version, you don't actually say Miklo. There's a joke about your son and you call him Miklo. And did you think that people wouldn't get it, those who speak Spanish, it might be from another country?
I don't know. I just left it out because I forgot probably.
Oh, okay.
But I know that one joke I left out because I forgot. But the special was just too long. The English one ended up being an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And the Spanish one was an hour and like 8, the first one, and an hour and 15, the second one. So we had to cut a bunch of jokes out to make it fit.
Oh, okay.
That was tough.
Yeah, I'm sure. And speaking of language, there's a lot of, this is different from what your other sets in that.
Yeah,
obviously
it's kind of more darker, you know. I was talking from a different point of view of how I was back in the days, in the 90s. And the domestic violence really happened, and it was tough to talk about that.
Yeah.
It was hurtful to say it in that way, you know, and kind of like, it was tough not to leave out details. My mom saw it. She thought it was a lie. No, she saw it. She liked it. I felt I was going to get some negative feedback from it, you know, from the younger people, you know, young people, because
Mm-hmm.
young people now they didn't live that life, you know, they don't know. They were lucky to be raised by people who lived that life. Like I talk to my son, you know, when he's bad, or I
Mm-hmm.
just tell him, you know, that they're disappointing. You know, I try to put him in my shoes, but some people don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a email yesterday from a guy in South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me that I got it right here. He said, bro, South Africa needs a tour from you. Your comedy has really helped see a fucking hilarious side of childhood trauma. Thank you, bro. And I told him, that's nice of you to say that. I'm happy my comedy can help you.
Yeah, because I mean, coming from a Latino culture, I'm sure most of us have seen the domestic violence. It's not, you know, especially in the macho culture,
Yeah.
you know, so a lot of us are, you know, it makes you uncomfortable, but it's things you got to talk about, right? Especially when
Yeah. And
it led to your drug abuse. You know, you kind of mentioned that's why I do cocaine.
yeah.
I did cocaine.
And my I don't know if I left this out in the material because I haven't watched it. I said like most I there was a part after the domestic violence. I said like most American families or any family who deal with domestic violence, we never dealt with it. There was no closure. My
Mm.
dad just took us to Disneyland to forget
Yeah,
about it.
that's
But it was
how it
weird, man,
works.
because something bad will happen, or my dad would be like, he'll go on like a 3-day binge of drinking, and then he'll sleep for another 2 days. And then when he wakes up, we didn't even know where we're going, you know? Next thing
Mm.
you know, we're at the zoo. You know, like we went to church and then went to the zoo afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always tell people that when they see like a young immigrant family, they would look like they came from a quinceañera or they came from a wedding. I said, nah, man, we were coming from church and my dad took us to the zoo. We were not ready for this. You think my mom wants to wear high heels at the Disneyland?
And what does your dad think about all this? I mean, you're putting it out there.
My dad speaks Spanish. He lived in a convalescent home.
Mm.
And a lot of my fans are actually nurses there, and they keep them up to date on what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
and they're showing pictures of me.
Oh.
And my mom, she saw the show in New York. She saw the show from the beginning, and then she saw the jokes again when I put them all together. So she was shocked at first. She was like, it was like a like healing, you know, and
Mm.
we finally dealt with it. My brother and I, we had a podcast together. He was a guest, my brother who actually got hit, and we talked about it in our podcast 3 weeks ago. My brother Angel, and it felt like closure. 40 years later, you know.
Yeah, did your mom at first say, like my aunt loves to say, vas a ver, cabrón?
No, my mom said another thing. Our mom says, you only remember the bad stuff.
Mm.
Nomás te acuerdas lo malo, no lo bueno. No te acuerdas
Mm-hmm.
cuando te llevé al hospital. Sí, me llevaste porque me pegaste. Because you broke my arm.
Oh, man. And I wanted to ask you, I was reading more up on you, and maybe we talked about this when I've interviewed you before, but out of rehab, you met Greg Boyle, who runs Homeboy Industries, and he's been able to turn around a lot of lives. So how do you give back?
Money.
Money.
You give them lots of money, man. A lot of people like to talk and repost and regram
Mm-hmm.
and then try to get you to repost something. But these people are not doing no footwork. You know, they're not volunteering. They're not over there helping these immigrants speak English. When so many teachers how to work, you know, but most of them are reposting and getting angry
Yeah.
instead of actually finding out which of these kids needs help with their homework. Which of these kids can I teach? You know, a lot of these people they could start their own Zoom class for the disadvantaged kids only, like
Yeah.
an after school Zoom class. But they're not doing that. They rather just complain. You know, me, I have since I won last comic standing, they asked me, "What are you gonna do with your money?" I'm gonna donate my money to Homeboy Industry because they helped me. So I give them like almost like You know what? I donated money to them. I donated money to Peace Over Violence. I donated money to probably La Casa, I think, and Dolores Mission. I think is one of the only kind of messed up. You know, like I did not know that such a thing such a thing existed. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a it's a senior citizen home for homeless women. Like a lot of women, like their husband dies and he never like saved, or the mom was just she was just a homemaker, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And the husband did everything. So now she's stuck. You know, there's no car payment, no more rent. And now she's left homeless. So I donated money every year for this program for these women can have a place to live and kind of relearn skills to get back into normal society.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like learn computer skills or anything that could help them go back to a normal life where they could live alone. You know, without assistance.
So, you came here as a child, as an immigrant, and I was reading you were actually detained as a kid.
Yes, we were tiny, man. We were like 2 or 3 years old. The first time we crossed, my mom, like, we made it all the way through, but I think the sheriff, the LA County sheriff, or some kind of police department back then, they had a roadblock in San Clemente. Like, 'cause we already crossed the border the first time, but then we got detained at the border. But the second time, we made it all the way through. Like, we were singing "Ain't No Stopping Us Now," and we got to San Clemente, and there was one of those a checkpoint, like a second
Yeah.
checkpoint. Like, hey, you thought you made it, and there was a bunch of border patrols, and they were stopping cars and asking for their information, and we didn't have any, and they put us in the little holding cell, and we got deported back immediately.
Oh wow, that must be hard as a child. I mean, that's
Yeah, plus because you don't know. Um, it's so hard on a child because people don't understand. Like, oh, they should have not brought their kids, you know. But you don't understand when when your mom and dad are on a mission, they don't want to tell you where they're going because they don't want to worry you. You're like 2 years
yeah,
old.
yeah.
You gotta figure it on your own, man. You're being dragged everywhere like this by your hand, so you don't
Mm-hmm.
know where you're going. I didn't know we were going back to Mexico. I was just going, you going by the flow. I know that we were separated. I know that we were in one little room eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and my mom was somewhere else in another place.
Oh, how long was
Probably with
that?
convicts, I guess.
How long did you stay away? How long did they keep you away from your parents?
Probably a day or eight
Oh,
hours, and
oh
then
wow.
I think they walked us or they drove us to the border, and we came back into the gate, like one of those sliding gates, like Disneyland.
Mm-hmm. So for you, the pandemic. Speaking of the pandemic, how has it? How has it changed you? And what are your plans going forward? Since the new normal, people have to figure out what they're going to do with their careers.
It has changed me because my wife has done everything here at the house besides managing my stuff. She has she has an MBA, so she's been like the teacher here for Zoom for my son. She's
Mhm.
been the principal, the guidance counselor, and me. I don't have an MBA. So you know what I got, man? I got to be the janitor here. You know, the custodian of the school, the lunch lady. And whenever my son is not doing his homework, my wife jokes around like a real teacher. You better do your homework. You want to be like that guy right there, picking up trash from the school all day?
And speaking of your
I yell
wife,
out, I have job security. The janitor has always been there. Teachers come and go.
and she produced your show too. I saw her name on the.
Yeah, she produced all my 4 specials, and we kind of help with the editing a little bit in the English one.
Oh, nice.
So the words could actually match, not like when you watch Narcos, the the translation doesn't match.
Mm. And for you going forward, what are your plans? How do you foresee yourself working in this pandemic?
I'm gonna go to Utah this week. I'm going to Wise Guys Comedy Club.
Mm.
They're at half full. Normally that place hosts to 275 people. So now they're only at 100 people, 100 a show. So other shows I think are sold out right now. 6 shows. And I'm working on a new special already. It's tougher now because I'm now gonna write it. I'm writing in English and Spanish, so to make it easier. And I'm gonna have probably more jokes, less about my life, more just punchlines and setups. I have a movie right now with Pauly Shore. It's called Guest House, and it's out right now. You can watch it. I play a priest, Father Jeff. And there's a movie that's gonna come out in November or October. It's called Opening Act with Steve Byrne, and he directed it. And the little kid from, I'm gonna forget his name, the little boy from Christmas Story. He's the producer of the movie with Vince Vaughn.
Oh, okay.
And hopefully that thing comes out.
And we can also see you on Gentefied. You're very funny in Gentefied.
Gentefied, yes.
On Netflix.
You check that out.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Felipe.
Thank you.
All right, stay safe.
You too.
All right, bye.
Bye.